Okay, so I was surfing Discord this morning, and I see in the community there was a question about controlling a cursor along some text. So I thought I would quickly give it a stab, put an example file together, and see if we can answer the question. So what we're building is a cursor that can be controlled on the X. It can jump from line to line, and it can also be toggled on and off. Okay, so achieving this is pretty straightforward. We're going to be using a blend state and a bunch of keyed values on various timelines to create this. So let's run through that quickly. Okay, so we have a bunch of timelines that aren't really animations. There's nothing really happening in the passage of time, but rather that we have a bunch of key positions that we set on single values. So we've got the start and end value set up of where the cursor will be on the x-axis. So you can see x was set to this and that will depend on what your text looks like. You could programmatically probably do a bunch of these things better. And then for line 1, 2, 3, and 4, we've just keyed the Y position. Okay. And then for lower and raise, which is really just collapsing and uncollapsing the cursor, it's just scaling it from a Y of 0 to a Y of 100%. And then we've got to put it all into the state machine. So we need the 3 inputs over here, the X to control the blended state, a line number input to control which line this would be. So where on the Y axis we want the cursor to be, and then whether it's visible or not, which is just a Boolean input. And we set those all up on 3 different timelines, okay, in the state machine. So what I do is I go and do the blend state first, okay, and to that I add the 2 timelines of start and end, and I say please control this via the X input, and then whatever we range that from will then play through those 2 keyframes. So it will create the in-between frames for you here and just calculate that out programmatically. Okay, cool. And you can obviously then control these inputs from whatever you plug your animation into externally. Okay, between raise and lower, it's literally just this Boolean input, and you can just toggle that. And then for lines, there was just, okay, well, let's just cover the logic on this. It's literally just the lower timeline and the raise timeline, and we have color visible true or false stated on those. And that will toggle where it goes to. You can see it jumps there. Okay, and the reason you see that tweening is not because it's in the timeline there. You could have done it there, but I just did it in some interpolation on the actual transition. So if you put that duration in there, it will use this interpolation between those 2 states there. And I did the same on the other one. That's how that is controlled, in case you're curious. And then for the lines, obviously, there's just some conditional logic of if it's equal to smaller or equal to 1, we jump to line 1. If it's equal to 2, we go to 2, 3, and greater or equal to 4, we go to 4. That's how simple and easy it was to set this up. I hope this answers the question. If it doesn't, feel free to ask more questions.